You have been following Russia and President Putin for much of your diplomatic career. I'm sure you've noted the increasing focus, almost obsession, with Ukraine in his writings last summer and in the speeches he's given in the last week. What do you think is going on here? Some have speculated that his isolation in the Kremlin during the pandemic, his isolation from other advisors may be a factor. Do you have any thoughts you could share about what prompts this extraordinary focus to the point of invasion with Ukraine?
I'm not a Russia speaker, David. I'm not a Russia specialist. You'll have many people in your audience much more qualified than me. So this is merely a personal anecdote. But I think when President Putin first came to power, people saw him as a strong leader, and they hoped that he might be able to deliver some of the new reforms that Russia needed. And if you recall, the West took Russia into the G8 at the time. And however difficult that was, there was a big strategic desire to bring Russia in from the cold. And that continued until 2014 and the invasion of Crimea. Before that, of course, we had the invasion of Georgia. And I think what we've seen over the past decades has been a hardening of President Putin's dislike of the West, an increase in his desire to compete with the West, and not just compete with the West, but to actually overturn Western values. He and Foreign Minister Lavrov are very fond of saying it's the end of the West. They actively want to go out and contest the universal values, the values that are in the UN Charter that we all try and live by. And they want to overturn that part of the international order. Quite why that is, I don't know, but I would say that President Putin started, if you like, with certain geopolitical aims and aims for Russia. And then, as we saw gradually with the poisoning recently, in recent years, of in Salisbury, the Skripal poisoning, with the assassination in Berlin, and with the poisoning of Mr. Navalny, these tactics have become much less strategic and much more gangsterism, for want of a better word. And I do wonder why that is. And I think you might that there's something in this isolation that he's been going through because of COVID. We also know that his inner circle has been shrinking. It's not entirely clear which parts of the Russian state are giving him good advice at the moment, or even if they are, whether or not he's listening to them. There are plenty of anecdotes from history about princes who cut themselves off from their advisors. And I do wonder, but this is my speculation, if this is one of the things that's happening with President Putin. But it's also true, as we were saying earlier, he does have this visceral sense about where Ukraine fits in to Russia's security. It's not a sense shared by the Ukrainian people or the government that they democratically elected. Ukraine's a very different country from the one whose independence Russia agreed to in 1994. I do want to stress this. President Putin and Russia themselves have signed up to all the things about Ukraine being sovereign and independent and having territorial integrity. And now he's prepared to repudiate that. We do have to keep calling this to account, and we do have to keep supporting the Ukrainian people.